your back's against the wall in your toughest Pokemon battle to date, but you have a trump card, Mega Evolution. A technique so powerful that very few trainers can control it, let alone master it. What is the cost for all this power? This is the story of the rise, dark downfall, and potential return of Mega Evolution. But to understand this story, we gotta understand where Mega Stones even came from, and this all takes place in the Kalos region. 3,000 years from the main series Pokemon games, the Kalos region was in the middle of a great war, where the neighboring regions were scared of Kalos' wealth and power, so the king of the Kalos region, AZ, had to act fast, and he built the ultimate weapon. And this weapon was no joke, because when it was fired, it was able to single-handedly end the war because AZ destroyed everyone in his path. Little did AZ know the firing of this weapon would have grave repercussions, because he ended up splitting the Pokemon timeline into two universes. One universe where Mega Evolutions and Mega Stones don't exist, and the other one where Mega Stones do exist, because normal evolutionary stones were exposed to the radiation of Urnius and Yveltal's power, transforming these stones into the keystones that we know and love today. With all that being said and done, it takes us to the present day, where the Kalos region and the Hoenn region have definitely capitalized on Mega Evolution, being able to find 47 different Mega Stones, where 47 very specific Pokemon are able to tap into this energy, ascending to a brand new evolution that they never had before. There is also a 48th Pokemon that doesn't need a Mega Stone to evolve at all, but we'll get into him a little later. So far, everything's looking great. These ancient stones are able to bring out a trainer's true power within their Pokemon, ascending them to the next level. All a trainer needs to Mega Evolve their Pokemon is to have a strong connection with the Pokemon with a compatible keystone, and the rest is basically history. The professors in the Kalos region even talk about this transformation like a great grand thing, since it's really just you ultimately connecting with your Pokemon, taking them to the next level. It's something that you should really be proud about doing. But little did everyone know, Mega Evolutions were having some serious drawbacks on the trainers and their beloved Pokemon. In the Pokemon X and Y anime, Ash and the gang meet up with Karina, who is the fighting type gym leader, and she's learning Mega Evolution. The ace of her team is Lucario, and she decides to challenge Ash to a battle to see if her and Lucario will be able to control this brand new transformation. But little did they know, this would have been one of their biggest mistakes yet. When the battle began, it was going pretty well. Lucario and Pikachu were going head to head, but Lucario ended up missing an attack, and he got pretty angry about it. Karina tried to reassure Lucario that it wasn't that big of a deal, and told Lucario to go in for another attack. But then, everything changed. Lucario's eyes were glowing red. Pikachu got pretty scared from this, since it was supposed to be a friendly match, and then Lucario got a huge increase in power and speed, looking like a complete menace. Lucario ends up knocking down Pikachu and starts going absolutely feral, only having one goal in mind: to inflict as much damage as possible on Pikachu. Karina starts taking notice of this and tells Lucario to calm down, but he absolutely will not listen. Lucario started slowly descending into madness. He did not care and only had one goal in mind: to destroy Pikachu. It got so bad that another Lucario had to jump in the mix, stopping him from going ballistic. But the question was on everybody's mind: what exactly just happened? Mega Evolution was supposed to enhance a Pokemon's power, not make them go crazy. But we end up learning the truth. In the Pokemon anime, Karina's dad tells Ash and his friends that Mega Evolution is something not to be messed around with, since it could put a strain onto the trainer if they don't have the willpower to use it, and an even bigger strain on the Pokemon. They actually end up telling them that it's pretty common for Mega Pokemon to go berserk, and that they got lucky being able to stop Lucario in time. The Dex entry for Mega Lucario even says all the marks around his body are from the sheer amount of Mega energy that are going through him. The point on how deadly Mega Evolution can actually be is even proved further with Ash Greninja. In this form, we've seen multiple times throughout the anime where this form can do serious damage to Ash and Greninja, even making Ash end up in the hospital one time due to the amount of strain it put on him. And yes, technically Ash Greninja isn't a Mega Evolution, it's actually a rare phenomenon known as Battle Bond, but it takes the same principles of having a strong bond between trainer and Pokemon and evolving temporarily, so I'm gonna use it for this. With all that being said, you may be thinking, okay, cool, the Pokemon anime has a really cool gimmick with Mega Evolutions, but there's no way it's like this within the official Pokemon games, but that would be so far from the truth. Yes, at face value, it does just look like the Pokemon are transforming and getting a new Mega form, But when we take a deeper look at each of the Mega Pokemon's Dex entries, they are like a desperate cry for help. Mega Houndoom is one of the primary Pokemon that comes to mind. His Dex entry reads, its red claws and the tips of his tail are melting from high internal temperatures that are painful to Houndoom himself. Meaning that anytime Houndoom transforms into this form, he is basically setting himself on fire within, and his claws literally turn red because they were so hot, melting everything around him. And it's not just Houndoom with a Dex entry like this. Let's take Mega Scizor for example. He is also melting from the inside, and it's even said if he stays in his Mega form for way too long that he'll end up burning to death. A fan favorite, Mega Gengar's Dex entry says it tries to take the life of anyone and everyone, and it will even curse the trainer that tries to master it. Just about every single Mega Pokemon will have some type of negative Dex entry in the Sun and Moon Pokemon Pokédex. And this is just such a major contrast to the Dex entries you would have got in Pokemon X and Y, where everything seemed all good and Mega Evolution seemed great. So what happened? From an outside perspective, it just looked like Game Freak was trying to create a reason for Mega Evolutions not to be implemented into future games, since they are harmful against the Pokemon, and it wasn't originally intended to be like this. But the more we actually look at the origins of these Mega Stones, it actually makes a lot more sense why it would hurt these Pokemon. They are basically nuclear balls of energy that you are putting into the Pokemon all at once. So each Pokemon will react very differently to their Mega Evolution, being able to handle various different outputs of energy. We actually see this concept before Mega Evolution even existed with regular evolution. If a trainer evolved the Pokemon and they just weren't able to handle the extra experience it got, the Pokemon wouldn't listen and would sometimes go berserk. The only Pokemon to date which is able to fully withstand Mega Evolution is Rayquaza, and he's a very special case. In Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, we learned that Rayquaza has a very rare organ inside his body, which is very similar to the power of Mega Evolution. All Rayquaza has to do is eat a bunch of meteorites from space, consuming their power and energy, and he'll be able to Mega Evolve at will without needing a Mega Stone. In the Pokemon games, all he has to do is learn the move Dragon Ascent, then he can just Mega Evolve for free and even hold held items. And yes, it is as broken as it actually sounds. Mega Rayquaza's Dex entry even says Rayquaza is said to have lived for hundreds of millions of years. Legend remains on how Rayquaza was able to put an end to the clash between Kyogre and Groudon. For a while, nobody knew how Rayquaza ended it, but within a Pokemon special, we learned the true answer. Millions of years ago, there was a meteor heading towards Earth which had an abundance of Mega Evolution power. It ended up crashing on the surface, and Groudon and Kyogre ended up consuming that energy, turning into Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre. These Pokemon ended up fighting for control over Earth, and the people on Earth were super scared since their planet was getting destroyed, and they prayed out to Rayquaza. They all gathered around a Rainbow Stone, and it happened. Rayquaza came down as a Mega Pokemon, able to stop the war between Groudon and Kyogre, sending Groudon to the land and Kyogre deep within the sea. And this would have been the first instance of Mega Evolution, with the people's wish being granted, them being saved by Rayquaza, and Rayquaza being able to protect the Earth and ascending back into space. So from my understanding of all this, if a Pokemon does not have a super rare organ inside its body, like Mega Rayquaza, it won't be able to Mega Evolve without having severe repercussions on its body. We can also try to loosely link this evidence onto why Mega Charizard and Mega Mewtwo have two forms of Mega Evolution. It's been theorized within the Pokemon community that these Pokemon may have this organ, being able to actually properly exert Mega Evolution and picking the line that they want. Since Mewtwo is a man-made Pokemon, it's entirely possible they made sure that he was perfect, and Charizard is some descent of a dragon, especially with Mega Charizard X turning into a dragon, so there could be a correlation there. In reality though, the real reason why they probably have split Mega Evolutionary lines is because they're the poster boys of the Kanto region and they just needed that extra pizzazz, but it is fun to link an in-universe answer for it. After all this, Gen 7 was the last region we have ever seen Mega Evolution again, since when we made our way to Gen 8, we had Gigantamax and Dynamax, but no Mega Evolution. Game Freak was basically softening us up, being like, hey, this mechanic hurts Pokemon and we're taking it out the game. It looks like Mega Evolution was never coming back. Yes, the Pokemon anime would show Mega Evolution from time to time to keep the continuity, but it wasn't anything that was being pushed on us anymore. Until a few months ago. Yeah. Pokemon's Legends ZA got announced and it is coming back with Mega Evolution, which is actually really exciting for a lot of people in the community, but it gave me one main question in mind. Where does this align on the timeline? Legends ZA is said to take place in the past of the Kalos region, and we know it can't be before AZ fired the ultimate weapon because Mega Evolution did not exist before then. So it'll probably take place well after the war if Game Freak decides to stick with the lore. Another concern that's brought up is that how will Mega Evolution actually be handled, because it seems like in the Kalos region, the utilization of the Mega Stones is a very recent development. So did the Pokemon in the past have the organ to Mega Evolve naturally, or is there a new method to Mega Evolve your Pokemon, allowing even more species to get these transformations? I'm really excited to see how it will be handled in this new game. Regardless of all that, Mega Evolution is clearly the most beloved gimmick in the Pokemon franchise, and it's really cool that they're bringing it back.
What's good, guys? I just want to hop on real quick because we just hit 50,000 subscribers. That was my goal for the entire year, and we hit it in half of the year. So I don't even know where we're going to be a year from now. You guys have been going absolutely crazy. I just want to announce I have a few socials, like a Twitter, a Twitch, and a Discord. They're all linked in the description. And if you use any of them, follow. Or if you're on this platform right now, YouTube, subscribe. It's right in front of your face, and there's 2 videos on your screen. I love y'all, and see you in the next video.